פאנדר לייב ניוז, הועידה השנתית לתכנון פרישה. אנו נמצאים כאן עם מייקל דלפי וקריס גרין מבית ההשקעות קאסלסטון, שניהם אחראי מניות. אנחנו נשאל אותם קצת על המדדים מסביב לעולם. Mr. Delphi, since the beginning of the year we can see that the indexes, the major equity indexes in the US has yield almost non-yield or even, sometimes even negative. What's your prediction about the Nasdaq and Wall Street during this year?
Yeah, so far in 2015, U.S. markets have trailed European markets, as opposed to 2014, where U.S. markets had done extremely well and European markets were basically flat. We've seen a change in monetary policy from the United States to Europe, where the European markets have benefited from quantitative easing and a weaker euro. We think this will continue, although we've seen a little bit of a hiccup over the last few weeks within European equity markets. So we should see a return to positive growth within Europe with European equity markets, with US markets probably up at the end of the year around, let's say, 3 to 4%.
So personally, you prefer the European markets?
Absolutely.
Against the U.S. markets?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, and I think the monetary policy between the two countries at the moment definitely dictates a higher allocation towards any equity allocation into Europe as opposed to the United States.
And you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that our long-term view is markets could well be flat over the longer term. This is
the U.S. markets?
Well, globally we could see that because of the increased volatility that we've been experiencing, and also we are at a point where since the year 2000, real returns have been pretty much flat, and that could well continue into the future as we see a normalization of the return back to the long term of about 5% on the S&P 500. So that's our view over the longer term, really.
I know that you both are equity experts, but I have to talk to you about the bond markets. In the last days, we saw much downgraded of the bond market in Europe and in the US. My prediction is not my prediction, but I think that it's because of the interest rates in the US. But do you think maybe there are more reasons for the downgraded of the bonds yield?
Well, yeah, I mean, let's say the drop in bond prices, especially in Europe, I think caught the market completely off guard. That saw an increase in the value of the euro versus the US dollar, which has obviously impacted European stocks. The US 10-year, trading slightly above 2% at the moment, is somewhere where we'd want to see it. I mean, we will actually want to see the 10-year yield higher than where it actually is today, or where it was over the last, let's say, month or so. So I would actually think that with Europe and bond yields somewhat rising is probably a healthy thing, even though there is some sort of short-term pain at the moment.
I think this really plays back to where we see ourselves in the market, that we're at low interest rates for the foreseeable future, and even if they rise, we've got so much debt in the world that actually governments and institutions, must be very concerned that rise in interest rates in the longer term, is controlled. So in that respect, we think, where else can you look for yield? And that's why we've gone in the sort of high yielding dividend stock arena with call options as well. That's where we see the potential for investors to pick up a higher yield, basically.
אוקיי, גריס גרין טוען שבגלל החוב הגבוה שיש לממשלות מסביב לעולם זה תהליך טבעי, ואפשר להשקיע בבונד באגרות חוב עם דיבידנד. ומייקל דלפי טוען שוק האג"ח הירידות בשוק האג"ח תפסו את השוק לא מוכן, אבל בתוך תקופה קצרה זה אמור להסתדר. בנוגע למניות, הם מעדיפים את השוק באירופה לעומת השוק בארצות הברית בגלל השינוי המוניטרי, ההבדלים המוניטריים בין שני השווקים, כאשר באירופה יש מדיניות מוניטרית מרחיבה לעומת ארצות הברית שבה יש מדיניות מוניטרית מצמצמת.